Hi, I'm Bet from Bet's Makes, and today we're going to be working on some hair bows. This is what they're going to look like. We have this larger one and this smaller one, and these are made from genuine leather that I got from Cricut. So I just had one sheet of leather. I made a couple of hair bows with it. I have lots left over for other projects. You don't have to use that genuine leather. You could use a faux leather or other material to make these, but the leather turned out so beautifully. Now, just before we get into Cricut Design Space, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell so you're reminded each time I put up a new video. So let's move over into Design Space and start working on this project. So we're getting ready to make our hair bows now, and you're only going to need one file again, and this file is called hair bows. Now you'll get that in my resource library, and I will put the link below, and I will also put the asset number below as well that you will be looking for once you get into the resource library. So for the meantime, let's just click on it and insert those images into Design Space. Now they're going to come up all grouped. I'm just going to ungroup them. You can change the size of these if you wish. Now this one is a smaller one, and if I put it one by one, you'll see that it's 1, 2, 3.5 inches by 3.5. Now you remember we're going to double everything on the inside, so it's going to be a very small bow. And this one, on the other hand, is a little larger. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost 5 inches, and so it'll be 2.5 by 2.5, so it'll 2.5 inches wide, so it's still not that big. So you could make them bigger if you wish. I just wanted to give you both a large and a small that you could play with. Now I'm going to do these in a leather, but you could use any kind of material you want. Now this can be cut on a Air 2, a Maker, and a Joy. So there's nothing you have to do with these. We simply have to cut them in place. So let's just save our project, and I'm just going to call this March Hair Bows. This is a nice simple project. Let's save it. Perfect. So let's go over to Make It. You'll see it all goes on one mat. Unless you are doing different colors, you can just leave it the way it placed itself on the mat. It's fairly efficient this way, but if you wanted 2 different colors, one for the inside and one for the outside, you could just drag these down out of the way. Actually, I would put them right at the bottom so that you could have a different color at the bottom. Now these are the outside pieces, and you might want to keep these 2 pieces exactly the same color as the outside pieces, and this is the piece that will go down the middle, and simply cut it this way. I'm going to continue on this. I'm going to show you a little bit about the leather. It'll take a second to connect with my machine, and then it'll allow us to select. Now if you're using an Air 2, I know you have the dial on your Air 2. I would suggest putting your dial to custom so that you get this screen every time you go to select a material, and it will automatically adjust everything for you instead of you trying to make a guess. So because we want leather and I don't have it in my favorites here, I'm going to browse all materials. I'll just type in here leather. Now this is a faux leather that you can get from Cricut if you want. I am not going to use faux leather. You have faux suede, you have garment leather, and I use the genuine leather from Cricut. So I'm just going to click on genuine leather and click done. Now it's going to ask this time for a deep point blade in clamp B, and that's what's going to be used to cut our material. Now make note, it's asking you to move the star wheels all the way to the right, and when the cut is complete, return the star wheels to position. If you want to know what the star wheels are, you will find little white wheels that go across the bar in the center. Those are called star wheels. The reason you want to move them all the way over to the right is because you don't want the wheels making a mark on your leather product. Now, if you have something that made a mark on your leather project, then you will know that you're going to move those every time. But I must give it to Cricut. They do a reminder here just to let you know to move them. I know sometimes they're going to be a little difficult to move, but you can slide them over by hand, get them all the way over to the right, and then those wheels will not make marks on your leather. Second thing, when you put the leather on your mat, you're going to use a strong grip mat, and you're also going to put the fuzzy side of the leather up, facing you. You don't want the fuzzy side down on the mat, or it's going to create all kinds of problems with your strong grip mat and have little fuzzy pieces stuck there forever. So it is fuzzy side up, all the star wheels over to the right, and make sure you have loaded your deep point blade in clamp B. Now we're all ready to go. We're going to cut out our leather pieces, and then I'll see you over at the demo table putting the whole thing together. So here we have all these pieces that we had created with doing the leather hair bow. Really simple, but you do have to make sure you're going to have a strong enough glue to hold all of this together, and I'm using a super glue, and it's a Gorilla Glue, which I find is really easy to use, and it won't get too much fuss and muss. I'm using a couple of little pegs here. I have a different kind to hold the project together until I'm ready to go. Now we had two different sizes of bows. There was the small one, and of course here's the large one, and this is the back piece. Now what we want to do is we want to put these two pieces together like this, and then glue them here, and then glue the other piece on top. So what I want to do is I'm going to start with my Gorilla Glue, and you look pretty good there. I'm just going to make sure that I can just glue the edge here. I don't want too much. As you can see, there's just a little dab will do you, and we don't want too much exposure to it. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it to the center, and it will hold it in place just for a second or two. I'm going to use my little pegs here to hold it in place. Use two of them, one on either side, because I want it to stay together exactly where I want it. And I'm going to have to let that dry. So we might as well do the same thing on the small one. This stuff is really strong, but it does take a little while to dry. So let's just put that one into the center, and I'll use the peg on this one and this one into the center. Now you could use something different than the peg. Just hold those two together, and I will just grab another peg here. Just hold it from the other side, and I do need those to dry. Now once they're dry, we'll be able to then glue it to the center piece like this, and then we're going to take this piece and of course glue it down around just to hold the whole piece together. So these are cute little bows. So let's just give it a minute or two to dry, and we'll be right back. So we've given it a fair amount of time to dry. It might not be quite perfect, but it is going to be glued down to the center here as well. So we're going to have to be able to add some extra glue in the center here. And once again, I am just going to push it down and then put our clip in place just to make sure it holds down. You want to try and get it as centered as possible. Just use my little clip to hold it in place when it dries. I should push it down a little bit more just to hold it into place. And of course we're going to do the same thing with this one. Looks pretty good. Just a little dab of do-you right in the center. This is an easy leather project, and something you can do at any time. Now this is a smaller bow. But you can make them as large as you want. I'm just going to make sure that that stays in the center the way we want it and hold it down. And once again, we're going to have to let it dry for a little bit. And then we're going to add our extra leather pieces. As we're waiting for these to dry, I'm just going to turn it over to the back side because what we want to do is attach these little pieces to the back side. So I'm just going to do one side at a time. Just add a little bit of glue here. I want to hold that one together, so I'm just going to push it into place. Don't want to get too much on me. Comes to 3.5 inches across for the larger bow, and of course the smaller one, being a lot smaller, is 2.5 inches. So it's up to you exactly the way you want to have these hair bows. And then of course if you want to clip it on anything, you can glue a clip on here and then just clip it in place. I could take something like this and glue it in place and then just use this to clip somewhere. So I hope you enjoyed putting these little projects together. Here we go with the big one, and here is the small one. Well, I hope you had a lot of fun putting these two cute little bows together. Now, we didn't put a pin on the back, but you could put a pin on the back of this to make sure that it goes in your hair. My hair is too short, but as you can see, you can make these any size or shape or color. They are just gorgeous and so easy to make. Now, one last thing before you go, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Click on the bell so you're reminded of each time I put up a new video. And until next time, happy crafting.